Welcome to today's scary story session. These stories are not for the faint of heart, so be prepared to be scared out of your wits. If you enjoy being scared and want to hear more stories like these, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss a scary story session. Let's get started. The ocean has always held a special allure for me, its vastness a canvas for both serenity and adventure. But that fateful night, as the moon cast an eerie glow on the water's surface, the ocean's enchantment would take a chilling turn that would forever haunt my memories. My name is Alex, and I was part of a small crew on a fishing boat that had ventured farther from the shore than ever before. The waves were restless that night, their rhythmic crashing against the hull setting an ominous tone. My fellow crew members, Jake, Michael, and Sarah, shared a mixture of excitement and unease, our eyes fixed on the expanse of the dark ocean. As the hours ticked by, the wind grew colder, and the water seemed to shimmer with an otherworldly glow beneath the moonlight. It was then that Jake's excited shout pierced the air, his finger pointing to something that none of us could quite comprehend. Out in the distance, something was moving, something massive and indistinct. As we strained our eyes to make sense of it, a creeping sense of dread settled over us. The form seemed to shift, at times appearing to be a mass of tangled seaweed and at others, an eerie, ethereal glow that defied explanation. Sarah's voice trembled. "What is that?" No one had an answer. We watched as the anomaly drew closer, our hearts pounding in our chests. As it approached, its shape seemed to change, as if it was a living entity, fluid and unpredictable. Michael's hand found mine, his grip tight as he whispered, "We need to get out of here." But before we could react, a strange vibration filled the air, resonating through the boat and vibrating in our bones. The water around us seemed to come alive, swirling and churning as if in response to some unseen force. And then, with a jolt that rocked the boat, the anomaly was upon us. It was as if the very fabric of reality had shifted, and we found ourselves surrounded by a world that defied comprehension. Colors swirled in a surreal dance, and the air seemed charged with an energy that prickled at our skin. Fear gripped me, my heart racing as I tried to make sense of our surroundings. We were no longer on the ocean we knew. Everything had transformed, the water, the sky, even the stars, into an alien landscape that defied the laws of nature. As the moments stretched into what felt like an eternity, we clung to one another, our fear uniting us in the face of the unknown. The anomaly seemed to pulse with an unsettling energy, a force that seemed to probe our thoughts and emotions. And then, as abruptly as it had started, the vibrations ceased. The swirling colors began to fade, and the familiar contours of the ocean returned, as if nothing had happened. As the boat rocked gently on the waves, we exchanged bewildered glances. Had it all been a collective hallucination? A shared nightmare brought on by the isolation of the sea? Jake's voice broke the silence, his tone a mix of disbelief and awe. "Did anyone else see that?" We nodded, our words failing to capture the surreal experience we had just lived through. The ocean, once a source of wonder and freedom, now felt like a realm of uncertainty and fear. As we sailed back to shore, the memory of that night lingered, a dark specter in the corners of our minds. The ocean, we realized, was not just a playground for adventure, it was a realm of mystery that held secrets beyond our comprehension. And though we returned to our normal lives, the image of that shifting anomaly and the otherworldly landscape it had revealed would forever serve as a reminder that the ocean, for all its beauty, could also be a place of inexplicable terror. The moon hung like a sinister eye in the inky sky, its light casting twisted shadows over the boat where my friends and I had gathered. "I'm Ellie, and our weekend getaway had turned into a nightmare beyond imagination. The gentle lap of waves against the hull was a constant reminder of the isolation that surrounded us, a void of darkness broken only by the ominous silhouette of the dock stretching into the unknown waters. With the group, Mike, Sarah, and Alex, we sat huddled on the deck, our laughter echoing through the tense atmosphere. But as the night deepened, a palpable unease began to settle upon us. The air grew dense, charged with an electricity that was impossible to ignore. The ocean, usually a source of calm, felt like a living entity, a force that was watching, waiting. Abruptly, a scratching sound cut through our conversation, like bony fingers dragging across the boat's wood. Our words died in our throats as we exchanged wide-eyed glances, the origin of the sound impossible to pinpoint. An eerie chill crawled up my spine, leaving a trail of goosebumps in its wake. Mike's nervous chuckle was a weak attempt to break the tension. Maybe it's just a friendly sea creature wanting to join the party. No one laughed. The scratching persisted, growing louder and more erratic. Panic tightened its grip on my chest, and I swallowed hard, my gaze darting around as if I could discern the source of the unsettling noise. A sudden gust of frigid wind swept over us, carrying with it a nauseating stench that invaded our senses, the unmistakable odor of decaying fish and something far fouler. The taste of bile rose in my throat, and I fought the urge to retch. Sarah's voice quivered, her eyes wide with fear. "Do you guys smell that?" My nod was slow, my heart pounding as the smell intensified, wrapping around us like a vice. The air grew heavier, the very atmosphere tainted by an unholy presence that defied explanation. And then, just on the edge of audibility, a whisper rode the wind, a voice so feeble and wretched that it seemed to seep into our very bones. "Help me!" My breath caught in my throat, and I held my friends' gazes, searching for confirmation that they had heard it too. Their wide-eyed expressions mirrored my own terror, confirming that we were not alone in this nightmare. Alex's voice was shaky, his words a tremor of dread. "We need to leave. Right now." But the boat had other plans. It rocked beneath us, the movement unnatural and violent. The water churned in a frenzy, as if it were alive, and the whispers grew louder, their words a chorus of tortured souls trapped between dimensions. An unearthly figure rose from the water, its form twisted and distorted. The moonlight gleamed off its translucent skin, and its eyes, cold and lifeless, locked onto ours. Sarah's scream mingled with my own as the figure reached out, its elongated fingers reaching toward us, beckoning us into the depths. Our frantic scramble to the shore was a blur of terror, our limbs tangled in our haste. The boat convulsed, a monstrous roar echoing from its depths as if it were alive and enraged by our escape. As we stumbled onto the safety of land, we turned to face the boat one last time. The figure had vanished, the water now calm as if nothing had happened. But the memory of that night remained etched in our minds, a chilling testament to the darkness that could emerge from the depths. The ocean, once a source of awe and beauty, had revealed a malevolent heart that sought to consume us. And as we stood on the shore, gasping for air and clutching each other as if to reassure ourselves that we were still alive, we knew that we would never forget the horrors that had transpired in those haunted waters.